Hello, it's Random Talk. Decay here, and decided to do some random ramblings about marriage. So, today's society, marriage is not the highlight, or at least it's not the great thing that it used to be, or at least it's not as important to the culture. Back in Europe in the, 1800s, used to be a big thing. You know, rich people get married to rich people, or stuff like that. And a lot of romance novels that I read would try to break away from that cliche and get the somewhat poor woman with a stuffy rich guy. He realizes that poor people aren't that bad after all, for, breaking out of the class system. Excuse me. But, just trying to figure out exactly why marriage is so demoted in our current society. Partly, it's probably because of America. The American dream says you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, if you work hard enough. You want to start a business, as long as you're able, everyone's free to work. You're a citizen of the country. You can work just about anywhere in the country, and no one should be discriminating about that. And let's see. And yeah, education should be offered. Any kind of education within this country is offered to all citizens of this country. Which means you're a citizen of this nation, you can go to college if you want. You work hard enough, you know enough, you can start a business, do whatever you want. And ever since men started realizing that women can do pretty much nearly as much as they can in the work field, or at least in the general terms, not in specific areas. Because, sometimes women just can't be the bodybuilders that men are. But, so women do have a lot of freedom in the workforce, which gives them a lot of financial leverage, and that is pretty much the root of the evil here. Yes, money is the root of evil. I mean, that's pretty much the number one reason for divorces is financial issues. And sometimes you just kind of wonder exactly what kept your marriage together. Because a lot of people can easily argue that marriage was just a financial agreement once upon a time, or it was a business dealing. But nowadays, we want to base that on something more deeper, more intimate, such as love. But I think the biggest problem that I'm trying to wrap my brain around is why is it nowadays marriage seems like something that only women want. And of course, that's because we're considered, quotation marks, the weaker sex. But there's nothing really weak about women. We just don't have the same physiology as men. That's just what makes us so different and so hard for us to see eye to eye. Women can have children. When was the last time you saw a man have a baby other than on that stupid movie called Junior? Nobody? Yeah, a guy could walk around with his unborn twin stuck inside of him, but that's not the same thing as having a baby. That's an anomaly that I would never want to see happen again. So yeah, look it up on the internet. I just said something weird, but I saw it on TV, so it may have happened somewhere. It's possible for it to happen. I know, it's very weird, very gross. But yeah, when was the last time a man had a baby? Yeah, men can fight wars and wield weapons and stuff. It's not like women can't learn how to use a weapon. It's just women don't have the psychology to really want to hurt someone like that. I mean, like I just said, we have the baby, so our thought process are more towards nurturing. We're probably considered the optimistic of the species, while men tend to be the pessimistic, and it's starting to show up now more than ever. Because you know that stupid saying, hate the player, but don't hate the player, but hate the game. Well, you know what? Maybe the player ought to change his mindset a little bit there. Because why in the world would you play a game that people hate so much? It just makes it easy for them to hate you. But he doesn't think it's a big deal. And that's something a lot of men do. They downplay things. But women do over-exaggerate. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating right now, but I do consider this a bit of a problem. A lot of women want to fall in love and get married, but because men don't think about that, they never really offer it to them, or they never think of it as a possibility for them, or they do so much or they try so hard not to get into that position. And yeah, I've been watching a few chick flicks, like the movie What's Your Number, and The Proposal, and goodness gracious, what's that other movie? Oh yes, He's Just Not That Into You. Well, at the end of those movies, the guy ends up turning around and falling in love with a girl anyway, because eventually you realize there are just some things you can't resist about other people, and you end up attracted to them. But I'm not saying it's always going to happen, because there are idiots in those movies that don't end up with the people that they want to be with, or they just want to be alone, and so they continue to do it their way. And some people just don't know what they're doing wrong. But, you know, I'm just a little concerned about why men put the marriage topic on women only. And at this rate, no wonder there are so many homosexual people. And I'm almost kind of weirded out. And I did kind of wonder at one point, why do women seem to get away with homosexuality more often? I mean, if you go to YouTube and check out a channel that talks about game theories, they actually talked about this in one of their videos, talked about homosexuality being covered up in a lot of games. But he did mention that in at least one or two games, the female couples pretty much get left alone sometimes. But the homosexual men, they get covered up really easily. It's not a macho thing to be homosexual, but for some reason it's okay for women to hook up. But of course,